Welcome to Farming Aid.
When most people think of dairy cows, they picture the same few breeds: Holsteins, Jerseys, maybe a brown Swiss or two. These are the commercial giants that have shaped modern milk production. But what if I told you there are other breeds out there, rare, powerful, and quietly outperforming the big names in ways most experts won't talk about? Across the world, hidden on small family farms and remote pastures, exist dairy breeds that produce richer milk, live longer, resist disease, and thrive where industrial breeds struggle. These aren't science experiments or designer cattle, they're time-tested survivors that once fed entire communities before being pushed aside by modern efficiency. In today's video, we're uncovering the truth behind 6 rare dairy breeds the experts don't want you to know about, breeds that prove milk quality, sustainability, and genetic strength aren't found in the mainstream. From ancient European hillsides to the rugged farms of North America, these cows are rewriting what good dairy really means. So, grab your notebook and stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you'll see why these hidden gems might just be the future of real milk. The first of these secret treasures is the Red Poll, a breed that has quietly defied industrial logic for over 2 centuries. Originating from England's Norfolk and Suffolk counties, the Red Poll was developed as a dual-purpose cow for both milk and beef. Over time, it carved out a reputation as a hardy dairy producer that thrives on pasture without the need for heavy feed inputs. What sets the Red Poll apart is the quality of its milk. It's rich in butterfat and protein, ideal for cheese production. The cows themselves are docile and efficient, able to produce consistent yields even under tough conditions where other breeds falter. Many small-scale farmers and regenerative graziers have rediscovered the Red Poll for its balance of productivity and sustainability. Unlike the high-maintenance Holstein, Red Polls don't require specialized management or confinement. They're perfectly suited for low-input, grass-based systems. In a world increasingly focused on efficiency at any cost, the Red Poll reminds us that balance, not excess, creates lasting value. Moving from England to the mountainous heart of Europe, the Tarentaise breed tells a story of endurance. Originating from the rugged Tarentaise Valley in the French Alps, these cattle evolved to survive in steep, rocky terrain where only the toughest thrive. For centuries, mountain farmers bred them not for massive production, but for milk that could be transformed into some of France's most cherished alpine cheeses, including Beaufort and Tom. Tarentaise milk is high in solids, producing cheese that ages beautifully and develops complex flavor. But what makes the breed truly fascinating is its ability to perform at high altitudes and under cold, harsh climates. Their strong hooves, sure-footed gait, and efficient metabolism allow them to graze where other dairy breeds couldn't survive. In the modern dairy world, where genetic uniformity rules, the Tarentaise stands as a symbol of local adaptation and natural selection at its finest. American breeders who import or preserve Tarentaise genetics often praise their longevity, fertility, and resistance to disease, traits that the high-output dairy industry tends to overlook. Then there's the Guernsey, often overshadowed by its cousin, the Jersey. The Guernsey hails from the Channel Islands between England and France, and though it's more recognized than some others on this list, it's still considered rare in many regions due to declining numbers. What sets the Guernsey apart isn't just its golden-colored milk, it's the nutritional profile that makes it special. Guernsey milk naturally contains high levels of beta-carotene, giving it a rich, creamy yellow hue. More importantly, it often contains the A2 type of beta-casein protein, which some people find easier to digest compared to the A1 type found in most commercial dairy milk. This gives Guernsey milk a health edge that modern consumers are only beginning to rediscover. Despite its moderate size, the Guernsey cow produces impressive volumes of milk on relatively modest feed. It's also gentle and intelligent, making it a favorite for family dairies and small farms. The tragedy is that the breed's slower growth rate and smaller size led commercial dairies to replace it with Holsteins decades ago. But with rising interest in nutrient-dense, pasture-based milk, the Guernsey may be poised for a quiet comeback. Further south, nestled in the Mediterranean hills, you'll find one of Italy's hidden dairy gems, the Reggiana breed. Known locally as Rossa Reggiana, these deep red cattle are the original milk source for authentic Parmigiano Reggiano cheese before industrial farming replaced them with higher-yielding Friesians. The Reggiana's milk is uniquely suited to long-aging cheeses because of its balanced fat-to-protein ratio and superior casein quality. Traditional cheesemakers who still use Reggiana milk swear that the flavor, texture, and aroma of the resulting Parmigiano are unmatched. Yet by the late 20th century, this breed was nearly extinct. Industrialization had pushed it aside in favor of cows that could produce more volume, even if the quality dropped. A handful of dedicated Italian farmers fought to preserve the Reggiana, recognizing that the soul of Parmigiano Reggiano was in the milk itself. Today, a slow revival is underway, with only a few thousand Reggiana cows in existence. They represent the link between artisanal dairy craftsmanship and the genetic diversity that modern agriculture desperately needs to protect. Crossing over to the Nordic regions, the Norwegian Red offers another powerful story. While not as ancient as some of the others, this breed has become one of the world's best examples of balanced, sustainable dairy genetics. Developed in the mid-20th century by combining several Scandinavian cattle breeds, the Norwegian Red was bred for health, fertility, and overall performance, not just milk volume. The result was a remarkably efficient cow that produces high-quality milk rich in protein and butterfat, with excellent reproductive traits and strong immunity. In fact, Norwegian Reds are known for having some of the lowest somatic cell counts among dairy breeds, which means cleaner, higher-quality milk and fewer infections like mastitis. Their genetics have quietly spread across the world, improving the health of dairy herds in the US, Canada, and even Africa. Yet the full-blood Norwegian Red itself remains relatively rare outside Scandinavia. This breed shows what's possible when genetic selection focuses on sustainability and animal welfare, not just output. Lastly, we meet the Canadienne, North America's oldest dairy breed, born from the rugged landscapes of Quebec. These small, dark-coated cows descended from cattle brought by French settlers in the 1600s. Over centuries, they adapted to the harsh Canadian climate, surviving cold winters and poor feed while continuing to produce rich, flavorful milk. The Canadienne's milk is famous among artisan cheesemakers for its high fat and protein content, perfect for crafting traditional Quebecois cheeses like Oka. Despite its historical importance, the breed nearly vanished in the 20th century when industrial dairies turned to Holsteins for higher yields. By the 1990s, only a few hundred pure Canadienne cows remained. But thanks to conservation efforts by local farmers and heritage breed organizations, the population is slowly rebounding. The Canadienne isn't about producing more milk, it's about producing better milk, with depth of flavor that connects consumers to centuries of dairy heritage. For small farms seeking identity and flavor differentiation, this breed is becoming a symbol of resilience and authenticity. What ties these 6 breeds together isn't just their rarity, it's their defiance of the industrial model. In a world that measures success by numbers, these breeds remind us that true sustainability lies in diversity, not uniformity. The Red Poll thrives on pasture with no fuss. The Tarentaise climbs mountains where no other dairy cow dares to graze. The Guernsey delivers golden milk that nourishes beyond measure. The Reggiana keeps Italy's most famous cheese rooted in tradition. The Norwegian Red balances health with productivity like few others can. And the Canadienne, with its centuries of adaptation, proves that nature rewards resilience over excess. Each of these breeds represents a different philosophy of dairy farming, one where the relationship between animal, land, and farmer is central. They show that rare doesn't mean obsolete. In fact, as the global food system faces climate shifts, antibiotic resistance, and consumer demand for better nutrition, these breeds may hold the key to the future of dairy. Their genetics offer traits like disease resistance, heat and cold tolerance, and efficient feed conversion, qualities that could help rebuild more sustainable dairy systems. Experts may not advertise them widely because they don't fit the industrial narrative. Large-scale operations depend on breeds that perform uniformly under controlled conditions, where everything is measured in volume and speed. But smaller farmers, artisan producers, and anyone passionate about true dairy quality are beginning to rediscover what was almost lost. These rare breeds aren't just relics, they're living proof that the best milk doesn't always come from the biggest cows or the highest outputs. If you're a farmer, breeder, or dairy enthusiast, these breeds challenge you to rethink what best really means. Maybe the future of milk isn't about scaling up, it's about scaling smart. Preserving these cattle means preserving taste, tradition, and adaptability. They carry genes that could help tomorrow's herds thrive in unpredictable environments, where climate and feed resources shift faster than ever before. The lesson from these rare dairy breeds is clear: genetic diversity is not a luxury, it's insurance for the future of food. From the lush green pastures of England to the alpine meadows of France, from Italy's cheese heartland to the icy hills of Quebec, these cows tell a global story of endurance and value. They prove that dairy farming is not just an industry, it's a legacy. Every drop of milk from these breeds carries history, flavor, and resilience. The experts might not talk about them, but the farmers who work with them know the truth. Sometimes, the most powerful genetics are the ones that almost slipped away. So now you've seen them, 6 rare dairy breeds that challenge everything we think we know about modern milk production. These cows aren't chasing record-breaking volumes or fitting into factory systems. They're built for balance, for quality, and for survival. Each one carries centuries of hard-earned genetics that tell a story of resilience and adaptability, traits we need more than ever in farming today. The truth is, the dairy industry doesn't talk much about these breeds because they don't fit the commercial model. They don't rely on expensive feed or high-maintenance systems, and that makes them harder to control, but it also makes them more sustainable. The Red Poll, the Tarentaise, the Guernsey, the Reggiana, the Norwegian Red, and the Canadienne all remind us that milk isn't just a product, it's a connection between animal, land, and tradition. As farmers and consumers, we have a choice. We can keep following the high-output formula that's wearing down both cows and soil, or we can rediscover the power of diversity, genetics, and natural strength. These rare breeds aren't relics from the past, they're blueprints for the future of ethical, resilient dairy farming. If you found this video inspiring, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more stories about the livestock the world forgot, and the farmers bringing them back. Because sometimes, the best-kept secrets in agriculture aren't new inventions, they're the old breeds we almost lost.